Hello, everyone, and welcome to 7 Mindset Hacks that every entrepreneur needs. I'm Lara Young. Really delighted that you're here with me today, especially after the technical difficulties that we had on Tuesday when the webinar slides, for some reason, people couldn't see them clearly. So I've made some few adjustments based on the recommendations of the Webinar Jam people and also some people who run regular webinars. So hopefully that will have made a difference to you and you'll be able to see the slides very clearly. What I will do is, if you'd like a copy of the slides, just let me know. Send me an email, lara@designyourfabulousfuture.com, or just contact me in one of the Facebook groups, either the Life Design Mastermind group or the Build Your Backbone Sister Facebook group. So we have several people who are registered on the webinar today. You'll notice that there is a chat screen as well. So you are very, very welcome to use that chat to put your questions in or your comments as we go through. I'll be doing my very best to answer them as we do go through. It may be that I miss some on the way through, in which case I'll be more than happy to be able to answer them at the end of our session here together today. So when you do jump on, really look forward to meeting you and to seeing who is here, and obviously then to answering any questions that you may have in relation to what we're going to cover today, and also just any questions generally about how to build your backbone sister, or life and business in general as well. So I'll just wait for another couple of minutes just so that we can make sure that everyone has got the links that they need and everyone's live and able to get into the room, and we can actually participate and all ask and answer questions throughout the session here today. You've given up your time, and I am promising you that this will be an action-packed, content-rich masterclass. And at the end of it, I will share with you some next steps that you may wish to take, following on what you've learnt and discovered about yourself during the course of this session itself here today. So it is top of the hour, and so without any further ado, I will get started. And as I say, if you have any questions at all, please pop them up in the chat box and I'll happily answer them as we go through today's session. So just a little bit before we begin of context around me, where I'm from, what I do. I've had over 20 years experience as a life and business coach, a business strategist and trainer. So facilitating training programs, designing training events around the world. In 2006, I started a couple of businesses. I started a business consultancy business and coaching business, which facilitated leadership development, talent development programs, retreats, neuro-linguistic programming training and coach training throughout the UK, Europe, Scandinavia and the USA, and also in Asia as well. So I worked with senior leadership teams in organisations and boards to build their business strategy, create their business plans, and navigate them really through periods of change, whether that is personal change or organisational change. Worked on a number of projects facilitating those processes. And I also started 5 years ago a guest house and glamping ground. I had been, in order to run retreats and planning strategy meetings, I had actually been using and hiring country houses. And it dawned on me from a business perspective that it made sense for me to actually live in these houses, or one of these houses, rather than actually to pay the rental that I was paying just to hire them for long weekends or extended midweek stays when I was running events. And so I found a place opposite Belvoir Castle in the Lincolnshire countryside and set up to run retreats there and business planning, and also beautiful countryside. So started a glamping ground and won the Leicestershire and Lincolnshire Excellence in Tourism Awards in 2013. It's the only time we entered. But yeah, so I also am passionate about food, so I am a judge on the British Pie Awards. There's a photograph there. And I also cook on the radio, BBC Radio Leicester, Food Friday. So do a lot of different things. I'm multi-passionate, and I really encourage people to explore different areas of their potential, what they enjoy doing. You know, what are you passionate about in life and in business? Because it really does make it a whole lot more of a pleasant experience if you can find something that you love and do that. So my intention for this webinar is to share with you the 7 mindset hacks or shifts that every entrepreneur needs for success. So, and it really is about shifting the way that you think, and it's about trying things on and doing things differently. With all my training, I really recommend to people that I'm going to provide you with the recipe for success. And it's a foolproof recipe. If I was to give you a foolproof recipe to create a cake, to bake a cake, and you decided to leave out the eggs, well, then you're not going to expect that your cake is going to rise and that you're going to get that result that I promised you. Similarly, with all my trainings, whether that's through Bootcamp or Build Your Backbone Sister, any of the courses that I run, unless you actually follow the recipe and follow the instructions, your cake isn't going to rise, and you're not going to get the results that you desire. So I'm going to take you through a process now, and ideal if you've got a piece of pen and a piece of paper handy. Excuse me, I'll just have a sip of water. Pen and a piece of paper handy so that you can actually take notes and as we go through, and answer any questions, complete the activities as we go on there today. Okay, so the first question I'd like to just explore with you is the concept of mindset. So what is mindset? Well, mindset really is how we think, and it's also how we react to things. So it's about how we interpret the events around us. It's what we think of the events that happen, and it's the frame that we put around them as well. So how do we interpret them? Do we interpret them as being positive or negative? Mindset also explores the concept, I guess, of how what we think impacts on our emotional state, our levels of motivation, and our ability to achieve our goals in life and business. So if our frame is a positive one, we are much more resilient, we're much more able to be motivated to bounce back when things don't go right, and to really focus forward on achieving what we want. And obviously the opposite is true if we've got a negative mindset. And so mindset's half the equation in terms of success, and it's an important half of the equation, and that's why I'm exploring it here. I also go into a lot of depth about mindset and the other half of the equation, which is about building your backbone in the course and in the bootcamp, Build Your Backbone Sister. Now, a mindset hack or a mindset shift is about creating a new way of thinking. By thinking in new ways, you're actually going to support yourself in achieving your goals. If you change your thinking, you change your results. And as we go through this session today, what I'd like you to do is to presuppose that the 7 hacks are true. Okay, we presuppose that what I'm about to tell you is true. And then for the next 7 days, I want you to act as if they're true. Believe that they're true and notice what happens for you as you try them on. All the activities that I share with you in all of my courses are all about trying them on and seeing what works for you. Very practical techniques and tips, also some thought-provoking ideas and insights to get your head around. So really, I'd like you to just try them on and see what happens over the next 7 days. And then let me know and share what happens in the Facebook group. And I'm just going to actually pop up now the link to the Facebook group, which is the Build Your Backbone Sister group. So I'm just going to quickly go in and pop that up for you so that you can click through onto the link and see that in your page there. It will take you just to click in if you haven't already, if you're not already a member. Okay, so we know what a mindset hack is. We know what mindset is. And I'd really just like to now explore with you the NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming Communication Model, because I think it's a really great way for us to start to come to grips with how we process information as individuals, and a little bit about how the brain works when we're confronted by different events and happenings in our lives. So basically, every day we have access to billions of bits of information. There's around about 2 million bits a second that try to get in and that are available to us. But we have a limited ability to pay attention to all of them. Naturally, otherwise we'd be an information overload. We can only really take in around about 60,000 and then only really focus on 7 plus or minus 2 in any meaningful way. So what our brain does is it has a series of inbuilt filters that enable us to make sense of and interpret the information that's available to us. And that information comes in the form of the things that we see, so the visual representation, the things that we hear, so the auditory representation, the things that we feel, kinesthetic representation, what we can smell, olfactory, and then finally through tastes, gustatory. So lots of information coming in those different formats. Once it gets inside of us and we've paid attention to it, we then start to filter. We need to do that, as I say, to stop information overload. So the first filter is that we delete things. So for example, if you're in a room at the moment, just take a look around and notice everything that's white in your room. Pay attention to all the white objects around you, from the ceiling to the floor and on the walls. That's right, just pay attention to everything that's white around you right now. And now close your eyes and I'd like you to tell me everything that is red in the room. Now, my guess is that because you were paying attention to everything that was white, you really weren't paying attention to the other colours available to your senses. And that's an example, a very simple one, of how we delete information that's available. We also distort information, and a great example of this is through Chinese whispers. We hear what we want to hear, and we all interpret things differently. For ease, we also generalise information. So we group information so that it makes sense for us. Oh, there's some chairs, a table, etc. There are some other filters that we have as well. So language is a really good one. And an example of this is that the word success can mean different things to different people. And because it has different meaning, when we communicate, we may not always get our message across in the way that we intend to, because what we interpret something to mean, another person may interpret it rather differently. Memories are another one. If you have 5 people experiencing the same holiday or event or parade or whatever, each of those 5 people will create a different memory of it based on their preferences for experiencing the world. Programs, meta programs, we all have different programs for everything we do in life. So whether that's how we get up and get dressed and brush our teeth in the morning, or how we operate when we prefer to be with people or not with people, extrovert or introvert, we all have programs and preferences for the way that we do things. And they have a direct impact on how we interpret the world as well, and our reaction to it. The next area is our values and beliefs. So what's important to us and what we believe in has a direct impact on our response to what happens in life. And in NLP, we have something called limiting beliefs. And those are the beliefs that we believe will limit people in achieving the success that they crave and desire. So limiting beliefs are things such as saying to yourself, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or I'm too old, or I'm too young. And in the Build Your Backbone Sister program, we actually go through a process of banishing these limiting beliefs, because they have no place really when we're wanting to get and achieve what we want in our life or our business. And the next thing is our attitudes towards different situations. So, for example, I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old daughter, and I was in a supermarket last year, and my 2.5-year-old was having a real tantrum, and my 4-year-old wasn't cooperating either. And, you know, supermarkets aren't the best of places for children anyway, but I was supermarket shopping, and I had a few people look at me and tut and give me a funny look. And then I had a woman come up to me and put my hand on her hand on my shoulder and say, "You're doing a great job." Now, those people had different attitudes towards the way in which I was parenting and the way perhaps children should behave in public places. And that then impacted, I guess, their reaction and their response to what was going on in their environment. So once we've put our experience through all of those filters, then we make an internal representation of it. So we see it, hear it, feel it. And then we also experience an emotion, or in NLP we call it a state. We are in a state around, an emotional response to that. And we also have a physiological response as well. And so these are all interchangeable. So you change your physiology, you can change your emotions. For example, sitting and standing up straight and smiling automatically makes you feel more confident, more motivated, happier. By the interrelationship of these has a direct impact then on our behaviour. And because we have choice over the way in which we think, because we can employ these mindset hacks, we can actually really govern and guide our success and the way in which we show up for ourselves in our lives and our businesses. And that leads me really nicely on to the first mindset hack, which is I am in charge of my mind and therefore I am in charge of my results. As I've just explored with you, the way we think isn't just about thinking thoughts. It actually has a direct relationship on how we feel, our emotional state, and our ability to get motivated and take action. So just to explore and expand this a little bit further, everything you do is a choice. And you have the power of choice. We are lucky to have the power of choice. So whether you choose to take action or not, so whether you choose action or inaction, you are making a choice. And as you set goals and start to really focus on what you want and get the clarity of the purpose that you have, there's a very, very simple question that you can ask yourself, which is, will doing X, this behavior or taking this action or inaction, move me closer to or further away from what I want? And if that's your bar, if that's your barometer, then of course, if the answer is it's going to move me closer, then you do more of that. You also, because you're in charge of your mind and in charge of your results, you can also choose to think thoughts that are positive or negative in nature. And I'm going to be running another webinar about affirmations and the way that we speak to ourselves and taming our inner critic. And we do work on the inner critic in Build Your Backbone Sister, the program as well. Really explore how we can get that little voice inside of us, because we all have one, to be our cheerleader rather than that little voice that perhaps doesn't support us as much as it could do. And you can choose to think those positive thoughts about situations and events that happen, in the same way that the lady who came and very kindly put her hand on my shoulder and gave me some reassurance did. She had positive thoughts about that experience. And you can choose to react to situations as well in ways that support you or hinder you. Okay, you can choose to interpret information in a way that supports or hinders you. You can choose to interpret the way somebody says something to you, an email that you receive, feedback that you get, in a way that can support and hinder you. And this is the beauty of the fact that this one mindset hack, that I'm in charge of how I interpret things and therefore I'm in charge of my results. Mindset hack number 2 is where attention goes, energy flows. And the graphic there says, a bird sitting in a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because its trust is not in the branch, it's always in its own wings. Always believe in yourself. And it's interesting because and this brings in the law of attraction as well, of course, because we need to focus upon what we want. But we also need to focus on what's good. Positive psychology does that, right? It focuses on what's right rather than on what's not, and what's working rather than what's not working. And so with this mindset hack, what we're really wanting to encourage you to do, or what I'm wanting to encourage you to do, is the same things that race car drivers are taught to do. You focus on the road, not on the wall. You're going at speed. Don't focus on any obstacles that arise in life or business. Focus on the road. Focus on your pathway. Focus on where you want to be. Okay? The minute you start to focus on negative things happening, the minute you start to focus on that wall, you're going to crash. So the idea is really that you choose your focus, and you have that ability because you're in control of your mind. In Build Your Backbone Sister, we talk a lot about purpose. Okay, what do you want? What do you want in life? What do you want in business? What's your purpose? Set your goals, create a vision board, and then, break that down into tasks over a 90-day period. Create a theme, create steps, create actions every day, and pay attention to what you want to achieve and not to what you don't want to achieve. And that's a real test of mindset shift, and I'll be interested to see and to learn how you go over the next 7 days. The next thing to do is to focus on one task at a time. Action breeds action. Now, I have my post-it note activity that I've put up in the Build Your Backbone Sister Facebook community group. Really encourage you to go and check that out. We haven't got time to talk about it now, but it's a great one that if you are actually in procrastination or apathy or boredom, it's a great one to get you moving again. And the key as well of focusing on where your energy is, where you want to direct your energy, is work out what's working and simply do more of that. It's pretty common sense, right? And it leads us nicely to mindset hack number 3. There is no failure, only feedback. And let's hear that again. There's no failure, only feedback. And we can think of countless people in history who have failed at their first attempts in different walks of life. Okay, Thomas Edison, J.K. Rowling, Oprah Winfrey. There are so many examples where people either didn't come into their passion and finding their passion and success until later in life, or where they actually tried so many times. They found lots and lots of different ways not to do something, but they didn't stop. It didn't prevent them from continuing on. And that's what this mindset hack is all about. You know, things won't always go according to plan. My question for you is, what feedback loops do you have in place? What external mechanisms do you have in your business that enable you to gauge how things are going? You know, is it the finances, the client satisfaction, the number of clients that you have? And also, what about how you're feeling inside as well? You know, how do you know that things are going well for you? What has to happen? Use these mechanisms all the time in life and in business to work out what's working and what's not, so that you can make change. We deal a lot with this in the adaptability module of Build Your Backbone Sister, and explore the relationship between getting feedback, making change, and getting results. Because understanding that there's no failure, only feedback, is really the process of discovering what works and doesn't, what does work and what doesn't. And it's also ongoing learning. So every day, ask yourself, you know, before you go to bed, or, you know, just at the end of the day, what have I learnt today? And what do I need to stop doing, start doing, and continue doing? And write those things down to guarantee me the success that I desire. Okay? And that will really help you just to start getting an idea of the sort of things that you can be doing to really improve on that continual basis. Mindset hack number 4, and this links back to mindset hack number 3, is the person with the most flexible behavior will control the system. And in neurolinguistic programming, this is known as the law of requisite variety. And in essence, it's key. The more flexible you are, the more skills and resources that you have, the more able you are to make the changes that you need to make in order to succeed. So the key here is to pay attention. So as you explore and employ those feedback loops, what's working and what's not. And it's not just a matter of paying attention either, okay? If you're paying attention but you're not making change, then you are not going to achieve your goals and dreams. So I ask you to test, operate, test, and then exit. So keep going through that loop. It's a reflexive loop, you know, keep going through, try things out. Put them in practice. Are they working? And if not, great, exit, finish. But if they're not working, make some changes. If they are working, fantastic, move on. And the key here is to always look forwards and not backwards, okay? Take the feedback on board, look forward to what changes I can make the changes. Cling to the future and not the past. And again, flexibility, adaptability is a key module in the Build Your Backbone Sister program. And mindset hack number 5 ties directly into this as well. So the past does not control the future unless you live there. So really important one. The past does not control the future unless you live there. Yes, of course, it's really important to be informed by the past. Try not to dwell on the past. Focus forwards. The key is always about moving towards what you want, rather than away from what you don't want. The motivation of moving towards something that you really want to achieve, and that includes by knowing your purpose, you know, having themes, goals, and tasks that you're achieving all the time, is to be able to think, what happened yesterday doesn't matter. What happens tomorrow, I'm not really in control of, but I am really in control of today. I am in control of today. So let me move forward with my actions. Let me move forward and not be bound up by, wedded by, constricted by what happened yesterday. Mindset hack number 6 is that you have all the resources you need to succeed. And these are internal resources, okay? As we saw from the NLP communication model, you really have the ability to think any thought that you like and to create any emotional state, any level of motivation that you desire, any level of happiness that you desire. It's all within you. It's whether or not you actually take the time to tap into it or not is what matters and what will yield you the results. There are no unresourceful people, just unresourceful states. So what we want to really do is always to try and get ourselves into the most resourceful state possible. And sometimes this starts just with changing your physiology. So if you're slumped down in your chair, sit up straighter. Put a smile on your face. In the Build Your Backbone Sister program, we really look at the relationship between confidence and getting results. So we look at strategies for building your confidence, building your esteem level and your competence level so that, you have access to these wonderful internal resources just to propel you forward. Because you can choose how you feel. Now, I'm sure many of you will have heard the quote before that with our thoughts we create our world, and that's been attributed to Gandhi. And it is so important and so true that, the way we think about something isn't necessarily the reality. But purely by actually thinking that way about something, it does change the complexion of it. It does change the meaning of it. Use your physiology, as I said before, and smile and just tap into what works for you. We go through a process called, your ideal day. And we also look at positive psychology and getting into that process too of learning exactly what the key ingredients are for you to have an incredibly productive day, for you to have an amazing day. And we really embed those throughout the program. Write down a time when you were in flow, when everything was going right in a day. What did you see, hear, and feel? And we'll also be learning some anchoring techniques to make sure that you can really embed those at the deep physiological level, and you can also have them on hand whenever you need them. Now, number 7, our final mindset hack, is that if someone else has done it, it's possible for you. If someone else has done it, it's possible for you. It makes sense, right? Obviously within physical limitations. So there are some things that require different levels of physicality, like, for example, to be a ballet dancer, you may not necessarily be or a jockey, you may not necessarily be the ideal stature or what have you, but pretty much in most walks of life and in most fields, if someone else has done it, it is possible for you. So one of the things I think that holds people back a lot and creates procrastination and creates us and prevents us from really moving forward with our goals in life and in business is that we strive for perfection, and perfection can paralyze us into inaction. And so one of the things that I love to focus on with my clients is making progress. What progress can you make? And moving away from those somewhat limiting beliefs about, it has to be perfect, it has to be right, that keep us almost fixed in the same spot. The other thing to do is to actually look for role models. So if you are in a certain field of endeavour, or if you're wanting to do something in your life, pardon me, whether that's to get fitter or run a certain business or create a loving relationship, choose some role models that represent that ideal for you, and ask yourself, what did they do to succeed, and how would they think, act, and feel? It's quite a fun exercise, particularly because we tend to think of celebrities who've done this, but it could be your best friend, it could be your mum or your dad. But it's really important that we start to think about, how did they do it, and how could I be more like them? What could I do to role model their behaviour? Another key thing here is to steer clear of comparisonitis and if only. If only I'd have done this, or I would have done that, or I should have done that, or I could have done that. But, and that's the word that follows those things, but it wasn't the right time of day, but everyone in my family's big boned, but no one in my family went to university, whatever it is, okay? Whatever excuses you make for yourself, really important to start catching yourself in the act of doing that and then stopping doing that altogether, okay? Excuses don't get results. Action gets results. And action is one of the key things that we do explore in Build Your Backbone Sister, how to take action, how to take the right action that's going to get you closer to getting the results that you desire, how to identify what those actions are, how to get the motivation and the confidence to take those actions, and how to keep taking them even when you don't feel like it, you know. And that's the key thing too, is how to keep going when you do feel like throwing in the towel, when you really can't be bothered. So there's some important skills there to actually learn. And I really want to talk to you, when I've recapped on the mindset hacks, about this program. So the 7 mindset hacks are: I'm in charge of my mind, and therefore I'm in charge of my results. Where attention goes, energy flows. There is no failure, only feedback. The person with the most flexibility of behaviour will control the system. The past does not equal the future unless you live there. You have the ability you need to succeed. There are no unresourceful people, just unresourceful states. And if ever any human being has done it, then it is humanly possible. So where to from here? I mean, these mindset hacks I'd love for you to try on in the next 7 days, and I will send you out what they are in an email, having signed up for this webinar. But it's only really, as I said at the outset, half the equation. Mindset is half the equation. It's a really important one. But the next important part as well is building your backbone. And in order to move forwards, I'd like to offer you the opportunity to enroll in the program. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it shortly. I think the slides got a little bit muddled up, but you can enroll today for $297 at the early bird price and get 12 months in the Build Your Backbone Sister Bootcamp for free. Or we've got a monthly payment plan at $37 a month for 12 months, and you get a one-to-one coaching session with me for free. Now, what we'll be covering in Build Your Backbone Sister and the bootcamp is, I'm going to be sharing with you NLP techniques, positive psychology techniques, coaching and business strategies that will propel your life and your business forward. So in the bootcamp, we have monthly themes, we have guest speakers, there's training every month, there's a monthly group coaching call as well. There are lots of challenges, checklists and resources, expanded training, so this sort of thing, but a lot more expanded and in-depth is within the boot camp. So that alone, I guess, is worth the money. Well, I know it's worth the money because it's just jam-packed full of great resources to help you build a life and business that you absolutely love, and also to help you develop your mental toughness to keep going no matter what happens to you in life and business. So there are 4 key modules in the Build Your Backbone Sister program, and the first one is about purpose. So it's really about defining what you want in life, getting real clarity about that, and then actually looking at how to take the actions that will deliver the results that you want. We will look at your higher vision, we'll look at your values, your beliefs, we'll look at what really, why you're here, you know, what are you here to do? We'll start to build some strategies as well about how you're going to achieve that. So create some action plans and really look at diving forward into making sure that you know where you're going, that every action, every thought is geared towards getting you to where you want to be and beyond. One of the other modules is about adaptability. As I said, the most flexible person in the system will control the system, and developing the ability to be adaptable, to look for opportunities and to see opportunities perhaps where you wouldn't have seen them before, to really start to focus in on things like law of attraction, to focus in on things like different ways and strategies for change. So if you have a business, we'll be looking at things such as how to respond to feedback. What changes do you need to make to get the results that you desire? I've had many years working in organisations, as I say, in change management, helping organisations and individuals navigate change. And one of the key skills, one of the key abilities people need to have is that adaptability and that flexibility. Part of that does come back to mindset and the way in which you think of yourself and in which you respond to situations as well. So we're doing a lot of work, a lot of mindset work, a lot of work around how do you manage your thoughts? You know, how do you manage your thoughts so that you're willing to change and prepared to change, so that you give yourself more choices and options. And obviously, the more choices and options you have, the more successful and the more likely you are to achieve your goals. Another really core element is all about confidence. How do you get the confidence? How do you build the confidence to actually go for it, to go for gold? You know, stop settling for second best, stop putting your dreams behind everyone else. You know, a lot of us are mums, you know, we have families, we're out there every day thinking about, you know, all our partners, if we have them, our children, the dog and the cat often get thought of before we get thought of. You know, it's about actually having the confidence and the self-belief that we are worth it. You know, we are worth putting in effort into, we are worth taking time for. We'll talk a lot about self-care, you know, how to look after yourself, how to keep the motivation going, how to keep your energy levels up, how to be in a place where you know that you are good at what you do, and just build on that and build on that so that it's contagious and other people see that too. The final module that we do is around community, and it's really about building relationships effectively. There's work in communication, there's work on relationship building, maintaining relationships. We'll be looking at, you know, the communities that you operate in. Are they online or offline? What's the balance? How much interaction do you have and do you need with other people? We'll be looking in this section at your meta programs, your behavioural preferences. You know, what do you like to do, and are you doing enough of that? Are you doing enough with people who really support you? Are you surrounded by the right people in your life and your business? And we'll be looking at how to attract those people into your life, and also perhaps how to say farewell to some relationships and situations that may not and just have a drink, sorry, that may not be serving you as well as they could be. So it's quite an in-depth, it's an in-depth program with and workbooks for you to work through, the opportunity to talk to me one-on-one as well, and obviously done in a community of people who are women who are like-minded, okay, people who are there to support you, and that's one of the best things about it, you know, is having that community there. So in taking Build Your Backbone Sister, you will clearly define your ambitions and your purpose in life and business. You'll develop the skills to conquer your fears and banish the limiting beliefs that have kept you playing small. You'll build your mental toughness to keep going even when you feel like throwing in the towel. You'll create the courage and the confidence to go for what you want and get it. And you'll establish and implement tangible actions that will move you from where you are now to where you want to be. This isn't about talk, ladies. This is about action, okay? This program is all about taking the actions, both the psychological action, the physical action that you need to take in order to get to where you want to be. So there are 4 tried and tested training modules, and by tried and tested, I mean that I have run this program for over 2,000 people in a live 2-day environment. And you also get step-by-step guides on how to use and develop your resilience to fail-proof your future. We'll have 6 group coaching calls to share your progress, ask questions, and also learn from your fellow Backbone sisters. There'll be actionable exercises for every single module so that you can take your learning beyond the digital classroom and into your life and business. We'll have a guidebook which is full of activities to complete and backbone building actions to take. You'll also be a member of a private interactive Facebook community, and we'll have a weekly truth or dare as well. So I'll be giving you some challenges to undertake, and they're optional, but they're designed to really quickly build your courage and your confidence. And of course, in buying the course now at the early bird price, you also get access to all the fantastic resources that exist within our bootcamp, which is, as I said, another monthly group coaching call, monthly themes, trainings, check sheets, guest experts. I mean, it's so chock-a-block full of fabulous practical tools and resources for you to use that will deliver results. It's amazing. And the 2 of these combined, you'll look back in 12 months' time and not even know yourself. So yeah, and I encourage you to have a look. I will send a link out to the bootcamp on the email as well so that you can have a look at both the course and the bootcamp. It is enrolling now. And oh, here we go. Here's the boot camp. So in the boot camp, you do get monthly themes, training bundles, worksheets for life and business, monthly group coaching calls, challenges and guest experts. Oh, the one thing I forgot to mention was you do automatically get access to 52 adventures to change your life. Now, I know some of you are already a member of this, so this is a weekly challenge and adventure that I post up for you. Get it posted up in our Facebook group, 52 Adventures to Change Your Life, and you get an email. And it's just something, it could be a physical adventure, a mental or emotional adventure, just to really get you out of your comfort zone and start to build that confidence and courage. You also, when you are part of the boot camp, get 25% off all my one-to-one coaching, retreats, courses, and mastermind group for business. And obviously you get to be part of the Facebook community as well. Now I'm just going to quickly, I'll just take off the, I'll just pop on the offer here so that you've got it on the side. And so that price is going to be live for until midnight on Friday, British Standard Time. So $297, or you can join for £37 a month for 12 months. Okay, so great savings there. It is going up on Saturday. So the price goes up then. And in terms of next steps, you can join the Build Your Backbone Sister Facebook community. That's absolutely free of charge. Just type in Build Your Backbone Sister into Facebook, and I will also send you the link. You can join the boot camp and participate in the retreat as well. So I've got a retreat coming up, Build Your Backbone Sister Retreat. That's from the 7th to the 9th of October in Belvoir in Lincolnshire, opposite Belvoir Castle, at the venue I was talking to you about earlier, and that's all inclusive. And if, of course, if you are part of if you sign up to the course and become part of the boot camp, then you get 25% off that retreat experience. And if you're someone who prefers to work one-on-one, then obviously you have the option of one-to-one coaching with me as well. I've got a number of different packages that are available. And again, I will pop them onto the email for you at the end of this webinar when I send out the replay. So that wraps up the formal part of the presentation, and I'm just going to see whether or not there are any questions at the moment in the chat box. Okay, all right, great presentation, thank you. Right, okay, fantastic information as always. What is a way that I can stop my partner from being negative? Okay. So it's interesting. I think once you start to practice these principles, the question was about how do I stop my partner from being negative? And I think the thing is that with all these principles, you do start to notice as you start to practice them, other people's patterns and other people's ways of thinking and being. And so the more positive you are, obviously, the more that you can perhaps notice other people's negativity. And I guess really it's about reframing and trying to understand where they're coming from with the way in which they're interpreting the world, and actually being able to then keep your resilience, keep your own backbone strong so that you're not going to be swayed by that negativity. That's quite a tricky one. The other thing here is about explaining more about the format and the structure of Build Your Backbone. Okay, so Build Your Backbone Sister, it's a 6-week program. So we do a week's worth of, every bit of material in the program sort of lasts for about 10 days. And there's an introduction for each section. We do start with purpose, and you can do it I provide you with the materials, and you can do each module in a self-paced way. For each week there is a group coaching call. I will be live in the Facebook group as well, helping you and having office hours so you can ask any questions that you'd like answered. I'm also available by email as well if you want to chat one-to-one about anything that's coming up for you. So we do really start with purpose, which helps to set the scene about what do you want, where are you going, what are your ambitions in life and business, and start to create a really concrete plan. And I use a lot of the strategies that we've been talking about today, but I also use my experience, over 20 years experience working with organisations to develop ideas, plans and strategies in business. So that's an important part of that section, and also to start to define the types of actions that you need to be taking to get the results. We also start to refine your feedback loops that you've got in place, and that's for life and business as well. So making sure that they're matched up properly, so you're getting the information that you need in order to get the results that you desire. The next step is around confidence. So how do you build the confidence that you need in order to achieve what you want to achieve? Okay, and part of that is developing confidence, looking at everything you've achieved so far. We do look to the past a little bit in this module, and we also look at your definition of success. You know, what does that mean to you? And so there's some great ingredients there. We do a lot of mindset work, a lot of work around self-belief, and also around your own esteem and caring for yourself as well. Then we have adaptability, which is looking at, you know, how can I adapt when things aren't going right? Some strategies for change, for managing emotion effectively, for managing perception, for managing yourself, your own behaviour and your emotional reactions in order to get the results that you want. So whether that's, you know, your emotional eating, or whether it's that you have an unsuccessful client meeting, how do you bounce back from that? So we'll be looking at those strategies. We'll also then go on to look at community, as I say, and building the community, creating the right community for you in which you can flourish. And so, you know, that's really essential as well, that you're actually able to, you know, that you're able to have that community and do that. The next thing as well is that you are then able to have that ability to bring all of that information together, so that the tips and techniques and tools that you can use in your own life, in your business, not just during the course, but for the rest of your life. And you can also, if you've got children, you can share the resources and tools with them as well. So you can start to teach them to have the resilience that they need, the mental toughness they need, but also, you know, that flexibility that they need and the power that they need to have to be able to master their own mindset, so that they're getting the results that they truly desire. So thank you for those questions. They were great ones, as all questions are. I look forward to seeing you over in the Build Your Backbone Sister Facebook community, and I would love your feedback on this webinar. If you've really enjoyed it, please feel free to share it with your friends. It's going to be up. The replay is going to be live for 24 hours after you receive it. So if you wanted to have another look, then please feel free to do so. And I hope to see, I know I've got some people on this webinar already enrolled in Build Your Backbone Sister and the bootcamp, which is wonderful. And if you're not already enrolled, I'd really love to see you there. So any questions that you have that perhaps you didn't want to ask here, please feel free to email me, lara@designyourfabulousfuture.com, or just tap me on the shoulder over in our Facebook group, the Build Your Backbone Sister group on Facebook, or over in the Life Design Mastermind. It's been great having you. You've got a plane flying overhead, so I will sign off. And thank you. I've been Lara Young from Design Your Fabulous Future.